Spencer, now living in New York while he attends university, is feeling down and unimportant. So he returns home and sends himself back into a game of Jumanji. His friends, his grandfather, and his grandfather's old friend go into Jumanji, some unwillingly, in order to save him. The only way for them to get back is to complete the next level. Jumanji The Next Level is a fun, action-packed adventure film filled with comedic moments, enthusiastic, humorous performances, and strong themes and messages. On the whole, I think it's a little bit better than the last in the series. Focusing on themes surrounding identity, aging, importance, and regret, the film has a strong story that gets its point across really well. By the end of the film, the message is an emotional, empowering one. Thanks to good action scenes mixed in with a decent amount of comedy, the film is fun and entertaining throughout. Although it should be said that some jokes outstay their welcome and become not only repetitive, but really old really quickly. Luckily, the film moves along at a brisk pace, making sure there's something new constantly happening. Throw in some new elements like avatars, characters, a horse, and even new gameplay elements, and Jumanji The Next Level feels like a sequel that's deliberately trying to be different from what came before. And that's a good thing. It helps that pretty much every new thing in the film works really well and actually adds something of note. The real shining stars of the film are the stars themselves, and the characters they may or may not be playing at certain points of the film. The cast is varied and diverse, showcasing actors of different backgrounds, ethnicity, race, and more. The acting by pretty much everyone is also stellar, with the likes of Dwayne Johnson and Kevin Hart doing their best impersonations of Danny DeVito and Danny Glover, and Karen Gillan, for the most part, becoming the new lead of the movie. Everyone in the movie has a moment that belongs to them, whether it be a killer joke, a great impression, or a cool action beat. The new characters fit in well too, with differing skills and abilities making for an adventure that's not just a repeat of the last movie. Sadly, the villain is a little on the weak side. The acting is fine, and he's way more engaging and interesting than the one in the previous film, but he never really has much to do. With a film of this nature, the special effects are quite important. CGI is used to create almost every animal in the film that isn't directly interacting with the actors. It's a bit disappointing then when most of them aren't all that convincing. CGI environments, however, do look very picturesque. There's also a fun, dramatic score to the film, with not so subtle homages to the score of Lawrence of Arabia for the desert sequences. It's a little on the nose and lacking in originality, but it works well and it does its job. Ultimately, Jumanji The Next Level is a fun, escapist romp of a film that improves on the last one in almost every way. Great action, good comedy, and a stellar cast really make it something worthwhile, and its strong themes and messages make it stand out from the other films of this genre. If you've liked this review, in just a second I'll be going into a couple of little spoilers, so if you haven't seen the film, you might want to leave after I've told you to subscribe to my channel, follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and share this with your friends and family. Now though, it's time for spoilers. The big plot device of the film is that Spencer's grandfather, played by the brilliant Danny DeVito, and his friend, played by Danny Glover, are unwillingly transported into the game. The joke here is that Dwayne Johnson and Kevin Hart then have to impersonate these legendary actors for most of the film. It's funny, at first, but the recurring joke of two old men not having a clue about anything that's going on or that they're in a video game becomes pretty tiresome thanks to over-repetition. It takes a long time for the film to move on from this, and the joke goes from being funny to overdone to just annoying. Even by the end of the movie, these two characters, who have switched avatars by this point, still don't really understand anything that's going on, and it's a bit frustrating. Luckily, the switching of characters is a great gimmick that plays really well in the film, allowing all the avatar actors to have a go at impersonating someone for comedic effect. This element is probably the funniest highlight of the film, with Karen Gillan's depiction of an African American jock being hilarious.